Hello, good evening, everyone. You're very welcome to this masterclass of the Youth Campus Project, courtesy of Trevor Waldock Youth Campus Project, and also the Masters of the Business. My name is Ivan Kalema from Kampala, Uganda. Trevor, you can start the meeting right away. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, everybody. I hope you can hear me clearly. And I'm sorry you've got a power outage this evening, Ivan. Let me first of all thank Ivan and the Uganda team for providing just such amazing, consistent commitment to the Youth Campus Project and to this masterclass. Every week, they're doing such an excellent job, and I really want to thank them for that. Now, the other two bits of good news. One, I've got a very special guest from Rwanda this evening, who I'll introduce in a little while. And the other bit of good news is I have a free gift for everybody who is here still by the end of this evening, okay? So to qualify for the free gift, to know what it is, you need to be here still by the time we finish this talk. Welcome to the Youth Campus Project Masterclass number 7. And this evening we're looking at the subject of discipline. Now, discipline is often not seen as a very attractive word. The word that most people seem to want to live by this generation, I think, is the word comfort. Is it comfortable? Is it easy? Does it make me feel good? And here's the problem. Well, you never, ever achieve your potential if you just lay back in the swimming pool and sipping Pepsi Cola. It just doesn't work that way. It involves a struggle to develop into your full potential. And there's no easy way to say that. There really isn't. You know, life's tough. Sometimes it's very, very tough. And sometimes it feels a little bit easier, which is great. We get the chance to take a breath and relax. But even Mandela said, even after apartheid had ended, he wrote a book called Dare Not Linger, based on a statement he made. He said, my life has been one long struggle to get here, to get to the place I've spent my life trying to get to. He said, but we haven't finished yet. The work is not finished yet. We got more to do. So he said, I'm stopping, I'm taking a look around, I'm enjoying the view for a few moments. And then he said these famous words. He said, but I dare not linger, which means hang around, sit down, stick my feet up and sip Pepsi, because there's more. There is more we can do to be an impact on our generation. So that involves discipline. And as we'll see later, the word discipline actually comes from the gymnasium. When you go to a gymnasium, you don't go into a gymnasium with all these amazing running machines and weights and everything, and you go and you sit down in an armchair for an hour, and at the end you come out and say, well, I don't feel any fitter. So you go in tomorrow into the gymnasium with all this equipment around, and you sit in the gymnasium and you do nothing, and you say, well, I don't feel any better, don't feel any stronger. It's not how it works, is it? The word discipline comes from the original word gymnasium. It's how we get fit. It's how we develop muscle. To do anything well in life, we have to develop muscle, mental muscle, emotional muscle, physical muscle, all of these different muscles that we have to be developing. So that's what we're going to look at tonight with our guest. But because the purpose of these master classes is to just help people who've not yet started doing the Youth Campus Project, I just want to explain how it works and how you can get going. Because again, I use the illustration sometimes, if you've got a headache and it won't go away, you go to the doctor and you say, doctor, I have this headache. And he said, here's some tablets if you take these. So you go home and you take these tablets and think, oh, these are really special. I'll put them on my table so that I don't forget them. And day by day goes, and every morning you go in and look at this box of tablets, and you smile at them, and you're nice to the box of tablets. But your headache doesn't go away. And 2 weeks later, you go back to the doctor and you say, doctor, I still got this headache. still, and he said, what, after taking all those tablets? And you said, what do you mean take those tablets? He said, well, have you been taking them every day? He said, oh, I didn't know I was meant to take the tablets. I thought I just meant to leave them on my desk and they would be effective. And the doctor goes, if you don't take the medicine, you're never going to get well. And it's the same with discipline. If we don't do the work on our own lives, we are never going to fulfill our potential. And some of you will have seen this before. So this is the Youth Compass project. How do you get into the Youth Compass project? Some of you have signed up, but you haven't yet begun. Some of you are here this evening and you haven't signed up and haven't begun. So this is just to get us all moving, all using the Youth Compass project. So week number 7, challenge 12. How does the Youth Compass project actually work? When you go onto the website, which you'll see at the top there is www.youthcompassproject.com. So you go onto that website and this is what you'll see, this picture. So when you go there, underneath that picture, you'll see this picture with a little arrow in the middle of it. And you click on that white arrow in the middle of this picture and it will show you a video, and it's only 2 minutes and 16 seconds long. And this will explain to you what the Youth Compass project is all about, very simply. And then under that, you will see there is another button that says Start the Youth Compass project. So you click on that button, and that button then will take you into this sign up page. So I've put some names there in red I've invented. You put in your name, you put in your email, and you put in a password. This website is free. I don't charge you any money at all to access this learning, but you do need to sign in. So you sign in and then you come straight into the Youth Compass project. And you see down the left side here, it says Module 1, Module 2, Module 3, Module 4, Module 5, and Module 6. And at the end, it says upload your learning log and receive your certificate. So there are 6 modules and they all have 5 or 6 different challenges within them. And the idea is that you do these challenges on your own or in a group. And I think Landry will explain to us later, with one of his groups, everybody does it on their own and then they meet once a week to discuss what they've learned. So we encourage you to work with other people because often we get much more value by learning together. So you start in Module 1. Module 1's all about the preparation, how to get started. And then what we've been doing in these masterclasses is just taking 1 or 2 examples from each of these modules. And so tonight we're on Module 4. If you look down the left there, Module 4, under Module 4, you will see there are 5 challenges under Module 4, all about how you develop your perseverance. And so you click on Challenge 13 and you get into this particular challenge, the one we're going to look at tonight. So that's how you do it. You start at the beginning and you work your way through all of these challenges over a number of months. The idea is not to rush it. The platform is designed so that you can't go faster than about 1 lesson per week, because we don't want you to just rush through it so you get a certificate. We want you changing your life. We want you stopping and thinking and reflecting. You see, each of these lessons has got a short video explanation of me explaining the challenge. And then it's got a written explanation. Now, if you're working with a group and only one of you has got a smartphone or a laptop, you can print off this written explanation and give everyone a copy. And if they save up their copies over the week, they'll end up having a whole booklet of the Youth Compass project. And then there's a set of questions for you to think about on your own or with a group. And then there is a place where you can enter and keep your own reflections. So we encourage you to do that. Find a little workbook or on this website. Keep on entering in what your learning is and be very specific. You know, it's no good say, oh, I learned that I should be more disciplined. That doesn't help you. What you've got to just think about is, how are you going to be more disciplined? And you might say, I've decided I will get up at 6 a.m. every morning and I'm going to meditate for 20 minutes. Now that's a discipline. That's very specific. You write that down. You might say, I'm going to read one book per week. That's very specific. So when you're doing your journal, be very specific. And when you're reflecting about yourself, saying, I noticed I was angry quite a lot today. And then say, I was angry in this situation, and this situation. And what I notice is that all three of them is where I felt disrespected. This is what I mean by thinking and reflecting on your learning. When we were with Sinchita last week, looking the whole issue of wisdom, she talked a lot about reflection. We need to keep reflecting and processing our learning. So tonight, very special guest is Landry Ruangwa from Rwanda, who is the development manager for Rwanda Cricket. So I'm going to shut this screen down and say, welcome, Landry. Do you want to unmute yourself and then we can, there we go. Welcome, Landry.
Thank you very much, Trevor.
Great to have you with us.
It's
And
a
I see
pleasure.
you're wearing the shirt tonight.
Yes.
Very good, very good. Now, I was working a lot in Rwanda at one time, and I was asking one or two people, I said, can you recommend to me a few young people who you think could be really influential for the work of developing leaders for the future in Rwanda? And the director of Sawate Tea, a beautiful tea company in the middle of Rwanda, he said to me, you need to meet this guy, Landry. So I did. We met Landry, we trained Landry, and then Landry became one of my key translators in Rwanda. And so he learned the programs we were running as better than anybody, really. He was a great translator, very loyal, faithful, good quality translator. And not only that, but Landry started using the training with other people, and we can talk about that together tonight. So anyway, Landry since then has progressed in the world of sport, particularly in the world of cricket and Rwandan cricket. And so he's now like manager of development for Rwanda cricket. So he's really found himself a very influential place and has excelled in getting young people in Rwanda to sign up for the Youth Compass Project. So Landry, good evening to you again. And so you are now the cricket development manager for Rwanda cricket team. So can you tell us your story? How did you get to this place? Give us
Good evening.
the full story.
Yeah, good evening, Trevor, and good evening to everyone. It's a very good pleasure to be here tonight speaking to you. My journey started, I would say, I started playing cricket at a very young age. Cricket is right now only 25 years in the country. And I started playing at school. Then I've seen most of the guys on the call are from East Africa. They will relate to all of us joining sports at school and trying to make a good time in the boarding schools. So I would say I would start from there because I think my passion from coaching, once I got into coaching, I could reflect and see where this all started from. So back in the days in high school, we would not have coaches. So I was privileged to study in a school. Then during holidays, I would go to the main ground of cricket. But then I found myself having the responsibility to run the cricket in the school in terms of getting guys to start playing. I remember, I mean, almost the whole team that I used to play with in the inter-schools left to continue their studies to another school, and I had to develop a new team so that we could play schools tournament. And I think from there, I never knew that I was shaping myself into becoming a coach. But then later in 2015, I was given a job to go and do cricket development in the northern part of Rwanda, which is where Sorathe Tea Factory is, as Trevor was talking about. And then during that time, I think it's when my life started changing in ways that I never thought that being that person that thinks and plans and started thinking more about other people, it would actually bring the best out of me. I remember I spent around 6 months without coming back to Kigali, which is where my home was, because I was enjoying the development. So my job basically was go to schools, coach new people, coach young kids, and then bring them to the ground, organize tournaments for them, work with the teachers around. So I was very involved with the youth. And then in 2017, um, part of coaching is basically going into courses and learning and doing all that. So in 2017, I got a chance to go into a course in Kigali first, and I was tasked to develop my coaching philosophy. So as a coach, you have to develop your own coaching philosophy, which is literally your purpose. And I remember sitting and reflecting and looking at my coaching, which was then 2 years old. And on paper, because we had to submit that, I wrote that I wanted to develop better people, not just cricketers. And from then, I was still actively playing club cricket and doing all that. But that spoke to me a lot because I've been using that since 2017 up to right now when I'm coaching. Of all courses I've been to, of all talks I've had, I still look back and say, okay, this is my coaching philosophy, and I'll try as best as I can to stick to it. So 2018 now, I got a chance to go to South Africa to learn again coaching. And I was amazed by how far the country has come from, and then the idea that is behind developing cricketers. So in South Africa, they talk a lot about how and what. So all the sports disciplines will sit in one area and talk about how to coach a South African, which is a lot of how to build rapport, basically building people. And then the what, which is the cricket, the basketball, the football, is a separate entity. And I also looked at how much effort and time and work it takes them to build a cricketer. And from there, I came back home with now a plan or a vision to say, okay, I'm going to stop playing club cricket. I'm going to stop doing everything that is related to umpiring and the rest of the stuff. I will focus on my coaching and making sure that Rwanda has got the best cricketers. When I look back, I think then I had that vision. I came back and I shared it with my fellow coaches. I told them, all of us were still playing. I told them, if we need Rwanda to move from here to somewhere in a coaching, to create cricketers, we need to do the coaching. And then right after that is when I met Trevor. And 2019, I went into leadership, translating, and then lead now. We talked about poverty mindsets and leadership mindsets, leading your life. Basically, it suited the transition I was going through in life. And then I used to, in 2019, that's when I got a chance to become assistant coach for the men's national team, where now I was tasked to deal with people that are older than me, that have played with me, that have coached me in one way or another, because it was like a cultural change in overall. But then I think the leadership courses that I've been to had shaped me in a way that I was up to the task. And then because I had thought about, I had the purpose, and then I was trying so hard to learn this coaching thing, to learn this cricket coaching, and to work on that. So I used to coach at the IPRC cricket. It's a university, but that had a high school. So I spent a lot of time with the academy, and they also shaped me in terms of one of the biggest topics we talked about in the leadership was the potential. And here I was with fresh minds, young people who have got a lot of potential. And I thought the only thing I could do was to share with them the leadership course. I did that, and then I would say that the journey continued there. In 2020, that's when I got a chance to be promoted and become the development manager for Rwanda Cricket.
Wow, it's such a encouraging story, Landry. And you're now accredited as an international coach, am I right?
Yes, through the journey, I think I got exposed to different things, different courses. I mean, I'm very excited and happy. I recently got a level 3 coaching certificate at international level. Again, it came with learning, being away from home and getting exposure to see all these places. The course took place in Bahrain. I've been to a couple places that have helped me to learn. I feel very passionate when I'm in the youth campus project because I've been able to visit Soweto and see the
Yeah.
museum and see what really Mandela did and the whole story around it. So yeah, it's been
Oh,
quite
that's
a very good
excellent.
journey.
Thank you so much for that encouraging story. Now, you've been working with young people for years. So just very quickly, tell me what you see are the issues facing young people in Rwanda at the moment.
Yeah, I think there are quite a few issues that the youth face. I think it might be similar to the East African nations and African nations, but mostly I think of recent, not of recent only in Rwanda, the unemployment on the youth, but also the mental health and substance use is becoming a trend for the young people. And I see that partially because of the lack of the mentorship. When it comes to employment, I think, yes, there might be issues around not enough jobs on market, but I see that mostly around the career guidance or the guidance, getting someone like an elder to help them to understand, okay, this is what I'm going to study in the university, because there's so many of those graduates out there. This is what I'm going to study. This is how it's going to shape my future. But if I don't get this, and then how do I come back to start lower and make sure I go up there? And then the issues of substance use and mental health, I think I must say that, of course, the history might be playing a part in it. We all know about the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, in a
Mm.
way that it's a country that is trying to rebuild itself.
Yeah.
So you look at 31 years only, the elders of here now are around 50s, and everyone, right after the genocide, literally everyone was more focused on the doing, and then the education focused on the materials in class and all that. But these other topics around leadership, love, around discipline, around, you'll find them in a household, but I think they reach out to the youth. And also, a country that is trying to rebuild itself, there's a whole focus on
Mm.
trying to do things the right way.
Yes.
And here and there, people get lost. But I think those are the two main issues
All right.
affecting the youth.
That's really helpful. Now, one thing I liked about your whole story from the beginning, you saw a connection between what you do and who you are. So, if you like, the performance and who you are as a human being. That both of you said you realized I need to work on both of these things, not just performance, but how do I develop as a human? So, can you tell me how you see heart and character play a central role in people's success and performance? I don't mean just in sport, I mean in life.
Yeah, I mean, most of the times when we talk about performance as sports people, we think about the performance on the field. But we've had quite a few examples where we've had two good players at the same level, but then we had to choose one simply because of his character or his heart. And when
Can I just stop?
I mean, I
What is
remember
it you noticed? Landry, let me just ask you, that's a really important question. So you've got two people and their skill level is the same, is that right? Yeah?
yes,
Their skill level is the same, but you have to choose one on the basis that one has got stronger character. So what is it
yes.
you noticed? What is it you noticed in the person with better heart and character? What can you tell me specifically what you noticed?
I think in terms of heart and character, for instance, I remember a certain time we were in a selection and we literally chose a player simply because of how he encourages the rest of the team.
Ah,
So he knows today I'm not the one. In sports, it's very amazing because in cricket, especially, we in a team of 11, you'll get 4 or 5 people performing on that particular day.
hmm,
But the heart and character stands out when they are not performing. You know,
right.
after you've failed, how do you come back? How do
Yes.
you clap for your neighbor? How do you enjoy the success of your next player? How do you play in terms of making sure that you give your best? That is now about the character, your courage, your commitment, and
Hmm,
and your efforts. Today we were running a session and the players were not doing up to the standard. I
right.
was sitting with the coach, and then one of the players called the whole team and told them, guys, we are not doing up to the standard. And that, as small as that might be, it's a lot of courage for him. He's not the captain to do that. And that might be something that will help him become a better cricketer. So I
Wow.
think heart and character is everything. They usually speak about sports does not build character; it reveals character
Ah,
because
very good.
we all have it in ourselves. So it shows who you truly are, and it's something that you can work on and you can keep working on and make sure that you grow it. I remember I used to used to say this often. It is your heart and character that walks into the room. Um, every time I walk into somewhere, before I even speak, before I do anything, people have already either willing to listen to me or not to listen to me because of who I am. And when you talk about the young people, like the issue of unemployment or success, what does success look like? In corporate world is getting into the management, getting into the top management of the company. And I think often from when I got into my position, I realized that every time they are to promote someone, it's always about the heart and character because the managers and the leaders literally help the people and set the right environments for them
Wow.
to deliver their jobs.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important.
That's so clear, Landry. Thank you. So let's just focus on discipline, which is tonight's subject. What do you think discipline is? Why do you think it's so important? And how do you think we deepen or develop our discipline in life, not just sport, in life?
Yeah, I think discipline is the art of doing. What have you done to contribute to your purpose, to what you chose? So we talk about purpose, goals. This is who I have chosen to become. Today, when we were doing the reflection, we were talking about how would you feel if you designed your last 5 years and actually started working on that. So we keep talking about who am I becoming, but until you start doing, until you start working on that, you can actually shape it. And I think discipline is the bridge between intention and actually accomplishment. You intend to do something, but if you don't do it, you're literally not going to achieve or to get to where you wanted to go. In sports, we talk about so much about hard work. Talk
Yes.
about hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So we've got so many talented people out here, not only just in sports, in other areas of life. But often, if you don't work, if you don't put that into action and put it into practice, you're not going to get ahead, because it all comes from the doing. And the reason why I think it's important, discipline, is because if you don't have it, I don't think you can actually proceed. So I've got a few quotes that I learned from the coaching itself. So one of the coach tutors told us that we are here in the youth campus project. We are learning, but learning only takes place when you practice what you learned. So basically, until you practice, until you put in action what you learned,
Yes.
you've not learned. So learning takes place when you practice what you learned. And I remember you talked about if you do nothing, if you change nothing, nothing will change, or if you do
Yes.
nothing, nothing will happen. So I think discipline is literally that. And there is a saying, I mean, back in high school, they used to say, uh, practice makes perfect. But
Mm.
through the sports arena now, we got to learn that practice actually makes permanent. So if it's a bad habit, if it's a bad
Yes.
thing you're trying to learn, it's not going to be perfect simply because you're practicing it. It's got to, you've got to do the right thing to be perfect. So what you're practicing, it will make it perfect. I mean, permanent
Permanent. Yeah.
to what, yeah.
Very.
And then you talk about how do we develop the discipline. I think, to me, I look at it as a cycle. So we plan, we do, and then we come back to review. In the beginning of the call, you were talking about reflection a lot. So
Mm.
it's that cycle. I have planned, I have done what I planned, but then did I review what I did? So we've got to develop small habits that we can do on a daily basis. I remember when I first met Trevor, I had issues with anger management, and then we had to literally work together in a scene to get a plan to see how I will try and become a better manager of my anger, because I could feel that it's a problem and it's affecting the people around me. And one of the things I used to do is a small action, because I talked about discipline being the art of doing. I used to get frustrated, then take 5 steps or take a minute without acting. And that has helped me. And then I think the most important thing about that cycle of planning, doing, and reviewing is, how did I do today? So if it's a fitness discipline that I want to work on, if it's a mental thing that I want to work on, if it's reading a book, I've said I'll read one page, and then at the end of the day, did I read the page? If I didn't read the page, did I read half the page? It's still okay, as long as I'm trying to reflect and making sure that um, I am disciplined, or I'm contributing to that. I think it's coming back to 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 the definition. I think it is what we consistently choose to do on a daily basis. And if I was to talk about
Very.
how to develop it, is I will need to plan whatever small habit I want to put in my life. I will plan it, try to do it, review it, and then come back to planning. If it's a continuous cycle, and I don't think anyone gets it. It's just a
Yeah.
a learning
Yeah.
journey.
No, that's very good. And I think one of the things I've noticed about being motivated to do that is you have to have a real sense of where you want to get to. In order to do that, we often say you've got to have a bigger yes in order to say no. So say no to staying in bed longer, say no to drinking extra alcohol, saying no. In order to say no to something and to develop this discipline, you've got to have a bigger yes, a sense of purpose. Why am I doing this? Who do I want to become? I think is really, really important of that. Okay, that's really helpful. Can you just give me some examples of where you have seen, you've talked about yourself and anger, and I appreciate your honesty about that. Can you give me some examples of where you've seen discipline help someone and where you've seen indiscipline be unhelpful in a young person's life?
It's quite, I mean, not easy to give examples around that, but we've had so many. I've got friends that, I mean, neighbors that we grew up together with the same dreams, and unfortunately, one has been in and out of jail, and I must say that he was far better than me in terms of intellectual capacity when we were growing up.
Mm.
But I mean, there are so many examples out there. I think I've seen quite a number of Kenyans here. I think the marathon runner Eliud Kipchoge, he keeps
Yes.
talking about what you've just mentioned. He keeps talking about vitamin N. For him, they asked him, "What is discipline to you?" And he said, "You've got to develop vitamin N." And then they asked him, "What is vitamin N?" And he said, "It is saying no, the ability to just say no." And then because you have that purpose you are trying to achieve, you've had, I mean, amazing footballers like Mario Balotelli. We've seen how discipline has made him struggle to achieve anything or a lot of what he could have
Yeah.
achieved if you focused on his skills and staying disciplined. Yesterday we received I think a newspaper on Sean Williams, who is an amazing cricketer for Zimbabwe, who's just, I mean, he has done a lot for the game in Zimbabwe, but I think his career has just ended because of drug abuse
Mm.
and this is someone that has done a lot.
Mm.
And I think that spoke to me around the discipline and trying to continuously working on yourself, because now this is someone that had been at the top, and something like drug abuse has just sort of ended his career
Yeah.
prematurely.
Yeah. No, they're good examples. Thank you. So in the Youth Compass project, we talk about, the aim, the bigger aim for me of the Youth Compass project is I want to see us together grow the next generation of elders to serve this and future generations. And we talk about learning, therefore, to lead, to love, and to leave a legacy. So to write your own story that will make a difference in the life of others, to love, which means to go beyond yourself and contribute to the lives of others, and to leave something behind you when you die that's of benefit to people. So if I said to you, what do you think the role of discipline is in leading, loving, and leaving a legacy?
I think the ability to create a story that impacts the lives positively. Um,
Mm.
Leading, loving, and leaving a legacy. I think we spoke about leadership as a definition of the ability to do that often, but discipline. I think most of the people will learn from what they see you do more than what you tell them. And if we are to create a story, to lead people, we'll need to work hard on ourselves. So a sports person works so hard and their careers are very short, 35 years, they are almost finishing their careers. and in a real world, they are the youngest in if you go to engineering or the rest of
Yeah.
the areas. We need to work extremely hard on the discipline to become the elders of now.
Mm.
If we are to get um, anywhere to leading with love and leaving a legacy, I've seen it with the people that we've had these conversations with. Today, when we were talking about elders, I've seen in the cycle guys picking their partners or their mates and saying, this has been my elder because of how hard he works. And that is discipline, because of how selfless he is, and that is generosity. So I think there's a lot of there's need for young people to do that, because again, especially in the continent of Africa, where there is unemployment and all these issues, when young people start understanding that I lead and I love people, they stop thinking about right now. They start having a vision of a longer time. And then with that, we sort of, that quote that speaks about um, people who plant trees, they know they will never sit under
Yes.
the shades. So we start doing that right now, because we need elders uh, right now to start leading, loving, and leaving a legacy. And
Yeah.
especially that we never know. I mean, I think we talk about death before death, or death after death, or legacy, or
Yes.
everyone that we're literally talking about. You don't have to be 70 to think about your legacy. You can start at
Yeah.
18. I think it's very important.
Yeah. Now, you use the word hard work quite a number of times this evening, Landry, and a lot of young people would see that phrase hard work as not very attractive. Is we want easy work and easy results and quick results. Um, how do you present that need to do the hard work in a way that young people can really hear it and hear the importance of it?
That's quite an interesting. I think it's the clarity of again, the character. We talk about sports revealing character, or the youth.
Yes.
I think it's what we shape them to be, because I keep telling the young people, for everything that you don't know is because you haven't learned it.
Yes.
And it's a culture. It's in
Mm.
sports coaching, we talk about culture. How do we build this culture? Who are we? And if we build a culture of hard work, we know it's not going to be easy. And I think that's the biggest impact around leadership and the youth campus project. We are not telling people that life is going to be easy. We're not telling people that we are going to give you everything that you need. Life is going to be hard, but we're going to prepare it. We're going to prepare ourselves to be able to handle those situations. If I would take it into the consideration of preparing a team for a certain opposition that is way bigger and better than us. Talk about Uganda and Kenya. I'm seeing so many neighbors of ours here. We know Uganda is going to be stronger than us in cricket. We know Kenya is going to be stronger than us in cricket. But we need to work hard. We need to work smart. We need to prepare ourselves by doing the right things to try and compete with them
Mm.
during that day. And
Mm.
I think hard work is there's no shortcut, and we are very lucky to have people that have done it so well in different arenas of life, that have come through hard work, and we can be able
Yeah.
to give them examples of Cristiano Ronaldo at 40. He's still going, and
He is. Very good. So listen, we're getting towards the end of this. I want to talk about the Youth Compass project with you, because you, as an individual, have got more people signed up to the Youth Compass project than anyone else I know. So I got some questions. How do you do that? And this is amazing. You've got the whole senior Rwandan cricket team doing the Youth Compass project. So how did you do that? And how does it work? And what would you say to everybody on the call tonight to encourage them to get more young people signed up and supported by our guests this evening to do the Youth Compass project? What are your thoughts, Landry?
I think I reflected a lot about that around how do I get more people to start learning. I think the biggest thing is, as I said, is learning takes place when you practice what you learned. I learned this, it helped me, it worked in my life. I've become a better person because of that. But after that, we need to walk the talk. It is very hard to, if you just share the link to people, they'll just look over it. They will open, not sign up, and that's it. But one thing that has helped me is I had conversations with people because I try to live by these principles. Might not get all of them, but I try to live with them. And then the conversations I have with the young people, I start talking about, I start inspiring them. I start talking about leadership. And then I just know there is a source, there is a link where you can be able to learn on your own and do that. And what happened with the national men's team is I was having this conversation with the national coach, who is a South African, and with vast experience in coaching. And I told him there is a program for the youth, because he sort of believes in making sure that players become better people also, and they can become better players. And I had time to explain to him, just a chat. Then when I reached home, I sent him the link and he was like, okay, I want you to come and explain it to the team. And when I went to explain it to the team, they sort of told me that, okay, we are going to do this together. And every Wednesday, over the next 6 weeks, we will be having a chat for about an hour to talk about one module at a time. One module at a time. And then I went there for the first module we did, which was literally around using your today to shape tomorrow, Mandela's story, and all that. But then when I reached there on the second day, and I recall what you're talking about during the introduction, not going through it, but taking time to learn and try to digest everything that is there. So today we literally spent a whole hour looking at the elders in our lives.
Wow.
And we got everybody in the 30 people coming up and telling us, these are the 3 people, these are their names, and they have inspired me. They are the elders in my life because of this. And it was amazing because we could see, so we could see people reflecting. Some gave a lot of examples. And the biggest positive to me was that in the room, there were some elders. And I'm talking about a team. There's some people that said, okay, Alex, my teammate, is my elder because I see him very generous. I see him this. I see him this. And this is a team that averages 23, 24 years old. So I was touched in a way that, okay, it's actually possible to develop elders right now. And the more we continue doing this intentionally, we can actually we can leave a better legacy.
Wow. That is so inspiring, Landry. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you so much for giving time this evening. I would love to have been in that meeting with you today. It would have been a great joy. And thank you on behalf of everybody here listening this evening for
Thank
a
you.
really amazing, inspiring interview this evening. So thank you very much. And everybody, if you give Landry a virtual clap, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I'm just going to share my screen again very quickly. And as I do each week, just very quick summary. So Nelson Mandela speaking to the youth of South Africa. So this is a direct conversation with young people, to youth, when he was alive. He said, as future leaders, there are certain responsibilities which we expect you to observe. One of these is utmost discipline. If you are not disciplined, you can never win our confidence. So how do you build trust and confidence in people? Building discipline.
Just
Okay.
click down,
Yeah, it's
down
fine. I
on
got
your.
rid of the box. There we go. Now, just look at this picture. And on the picture on the left, there's a guy laying in the couch with his beer and eating popcorn. And on the picture of the right is a very fit athlete. Many of us want to get from the guy on the left to the very fit athlete, whether that's in sport or in life. How do you get there? A lot of people think you get there by magic, that it'll just happen, that suddenly someone will give you $1 million or suddenly someone will give you a promotion. Suddenly, by magic, you'll get to where you want to get to. And the answer is no, you do not. The answer is you get from the couch to the fit guy by taking steps every day, every day. So every day you have to take steps to practice as if you were going to become that person. So if you take sport, we know that the fit athlete goes running every day. Well, your first step might be you go for a walk every day. That becomes your discipline. The idea is that every day you take a step that is practicing who it is you want to become. Let's say, I put here, let's say the guy is struggling with anger, like Landry was saying earlier on. How does he get from being an angry guy to being a kind guy? And the answer is every day he takes steps. Step one might be he becomes aware of his anger. Step two, he might become aware of what makes him angry and realizes the situations that do that. Step three, maybe like Landry, he begins to learn to pause between feeling angry and then taking an action. Every day, taking a step. Another example, selfish to becoming generous. How do you get there? The answer is step by step by step. Every day you take a step, no days off. That's true in every aspect of developing our heart and character. No days off. And that is to develop in every area of our life discipline. So mental discipline. So we talk about mental discipline, training our minds to learn new ideas, to have new thoughts, new thinking. New thinking will lead us to new actions. Physical discipline. It might be what we eat. It might be what we drink, or stop eating or stop drinking and start exercising. Emotional discipline, how I manage my emotions. Spiritual discipline. Spiritual discipline is about investing in what gives your life meaning and doing that every day. Moral discipline, financial discipline, saving little by little by little. About risk, taking risks to develop. You know, we talk in the Youth Compass Project about your comfort zone, and we talk about your panic zone, but learning takes place in your risk zone where you feel uncomfortable. And then the last one is task completion, the discipline of finishing what you started. Now, I said right at the beginning of this masterclass, very famous Greek philosopher called Heraclitus says, your character is your destiny. And you see there, Nelson Mandela, it was quoted here. Nelson Mandela is a man whose life instructs us that people can assert control of their personal destiny, no matter what the forces or hardship they incur, and that they do that by their own conduct, and they do it against overwhelming odds. They overwhelm the odds against them. So how do you get fit in life to deal with circumstances that want to overwhelm you? And the answer is discipline. And next week, I'm delighted to invite back Peter Waithaka from Kenya. And Peter was with us in week one. He's come back to talk to us next week about resilience. And resilience links very beautifully to this issue of discipline. How do you keep going? How do you keep going when you don't want to keep going, when it's hard? So that's this week. And I said right at the beginning, if you hang around to the end, I've got a free gift. And the free gift is this. So a few years ago, I wrote this book. It's called Doing the Right Thing, Getting Fit for Moral Leadership. So this is all about developing heart and character. The whole book is heart and character. Now, I am giving you this book for free this evening, okay? It's yours for free. If you go on to this challenge, I've got to share my screen again with me, 1 second. If you go on to challenge number 13 in the Youth Compass Project, and when you get to it, you near the end, just above the where it talks about risk, it says there's an exercise here. It says you can download a free copy of this book. It's in PDF format, but you click on that link and you get a free copy. And what this link will do, it'll take you to a page on my website where you can download it. And if you look on that page as well, there's a whole bunch of other free resources for you. All right, they're all for free and they're all for you. But just like the guy lazing in the couch, he's not going to get fit by sitting there. You're not going to make use of what's for free on my website if you don't actually click on it and go and get those resources. So it's there, it's for you. The challenge for next week is bring your friends. Bring your friends to listen to Peter and I discussing how you develop resilience in life. So thank you once again to Landry for absolutely inspiring interview. Really appreciate it. And thank you again to Ivan and Team Uganda who make this happen every week. And we are so grateful to our Ugandan team for making this whole platform for this masterclass happen. Hugely grateful. So thanks very much, everyone. I'll be sending out the whole link to this interview to all of you who are signed up for the Youth Compass Project. You will receive it in a few days' time. And I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday evening. So thank you and good night.